The founding Emperor of Wei accepted the abdication of the Han, ending nearly 400 years of rule by the dynasty. He was the second son of Cao Cao, but the firstborn to Lady Bian, who later became Cao Cao's second wife. He was often in the presence of court officials in order to gain their support, and like his father, he was talented in both civil and military affairs. He mostly focused on defense during battles at the start of his career, then tended to focus on domestic affairs later on. He implemented the 9-rank system during his 6-year reign, whilst he decreased the military power of the other princes. He was also an accomplished scholar who wrote over 100 articles, whilst also holding the claim of writing the first 7-syllable poem. He was born in late 187 as the second of all of Cao Cao's sons. At this time, his father was only a mid-level officer in the Imperial Guards at Luoyang, with no hint that he would go on to the great campaigns after the government fell. Cao Pi was an excellent swordsman who fought alongside his father at a very young age. He studied martial arts under Shou, a gentleman of the household from the Rapid as Tigers division of the Imperial Guard. When Dongzhuo occupied Luoyang, the He family's power was destroyed. He Yan's mother escaped and gave birth to him in exile. When he was about 6, his mother became one of Cao Cao's concubines, so He Yan was adopted, then became part of the household. Cao Pi grew up with at least 24 brothers, 6 sisters, and 2 half-brothers. Cao Ang, Cao Ji, Cao Zhang, and Cao Zhong are among the more notable princes, whilst Cao Xian, Cao Ji, and Cao Hua were gifted to Emperor Xian after he was rescued. In the period around the 190s, when Cao Pi's father was constantly waging war, it's not known where he and Lady Bian were, or what they did. When his eldest son, Cao Ang, was killed in battle, his adoptive mother Lady Ding effectively left Cao Cao. He designated Lady Bian as his new formal spouse, a position she retained permanently. In 198, after Lu Bu's defeat at Xiapi, Xin Yu's wife became another of Cao Cao's concubines. Her son, Xin Lang, was also adopted, so accompanied his mother in joining the household. At this time, Cao Pi resented He Yan for acting as if he was a crown prince, so referred to him by the name False Son, rather than his real name. In 204, Cao Cao defeated Yuan Shang at the Battle of Yi. Cao Pi entered Yuan Shao's residence and met his widow Lady Liu and Yuan Shi's wife Lady Zhen. Zhen was so terrified she buried her head in her stepmother's lap. Then Cao Pi said, "What's going on, Madame Liu? Ask that lady to lift up her head." When she looked up, Cao Pi was entranced by her beauty, but she remained humble even though he deeply fancied her. Cao Cao allowed him to marry her later on, then she gave birth to Cao Rui 8 months later, leading to theories that he was actually Yuan Shi's biological son. In 211, Cao Pi was appointed General of the Household for all purposes and Vice Imperial Chancellor. By now, many regarded him as the presumed heir to his father, as he knew how to act at the right times, much better than his brothers. He also enjoyed a much closer relationship to the servants and subjects around his father, so they spoke well of him. Cao Pi's status was not immediately made legal, however, as Cao Cao greatly favoured Cao Ji. Both sons were talented poets, but the latter was a better speaker. For years there were lingering doubts on whom Cao Cao intended to make heir. Up until 215, the brothers appeared to be in harmony with each other, but by now they had their own group of supporters who engaged in a secret rivalry against each other. In 216, Cao Ji's party falsely accused Sui Yan and Mao Ji, leading to the execution of the former and the deposition of the latter. The situation changed after Shu told Cao Cao that changing the rules of succession would be disruptive. He highlighted that Cao Pi was actually fostering his image among the people, then pointed out that Cao Ji was wasteful whilst lacking in government talent. In 217, Cao Pi eventually overcame his brothers in the succession, as his father finally declared him as the heir apparent, a decision which further aggravated Cao Ji's already eccentric behaviour. When Cao Cao launched another campaign against Wu Shu in the same year, Lady Bian, Cao Pi and Cao Rui all followed along with him. Lady Zhen remained in Yi because she was sick, then when they returned she was cheerful. The others thought she would miss her children and be worried, so they were surprised to find her so optimistic. Lady Zhen laughed and replied, "Why should I be worried when Cao Rui and the others are with Madame Lady Bian?" When Cao Cao died in Luoyang in the spring of 220, Cao Pi was at Yi. There was some initial confusion as to what would happen next. This was heightened when Zhang Ba led the Xingzhu corps to suddenly desert, leaving Luoyang and returning home. Cao Zhang was en route to see his father at the time of his death, so he soon appeared at the city in a hurry, leading to rumours that he was intending to seize power from his brother. Cao Pi hastily declared himself King of Wei and issued an edict in the name of their mother before receiving an official confirmation from Emperor Xian. After this self-declaration, nobody took any action against him. With the help of Jiangxi, the situation soon stabilised, when Cao Zhang and Cao Ji were ordered away to their fiefs in the countryside, prohibited from taking part in political issues. In the winter of the same year, Cao Pi made his move for the imperial throne by strongly suggesting to Emperor Xian that he should yield. Although Empress Cao was under pressure to use her noble position to favour the clan, she seemed to be quite loyal to the Han family, demonstrating this by being the last to stand when her half-brother brought an end to the dynasty. She disagreed with Cao Pi's plan and refused to hand over the imperial seal to him numerous times. When she was eventually forced to hand it over, she threw it onto the ground and said, "The heavens will not give you people any blessing." The former Emperor Xian and Empress Cao were demoted to Duke and Duchess of Shanyang, although they still received special treatment so could live in comfort. When they arrived at the war-torn region and witnessed the poverty, they decided to use their wealth and resources to help the people. With knowledge about medicine learned from the imperial court, they supported and cured the locals, and through their efforts the region eventually became prosperous. The dethroned emperor presented his two daughters to Cao Pi to be his concubines, who he started to favour over his wife, especially Guo Wang. When Lady Zhen realised she was favoured less, she started complaining, which made her husband furious. She was summoned to Luoyang but refused due to poor health, so Cao Pi sent an emissary to Yi to execute her by forced suicide. She passed away in August of 221, then the position of empress went to Guo Wang the next year, despite opposition from an official. Cao Rui was raised by his stepmother Guo Wang from this point on. It's mentioned that Lady Zhen's body was desecrated after her death, her face was covered by her hair, and rice husks were stuffed into her mouth. Alternate accounts surrounding Lady Zhen's death exist, with Pei Songzhi ultimately believing that she committed an offence which was not recorded in the official histories. Some speculate that she had an affair with Tao Ji, but this is not supported by any evidence. False rumours spread throughout the land that the emperor had been killed by Cao Pi, which caused Liu Bei to also declare himself an emperor. Sun Quan didn't take any affirmative steps either way, leaving his options open. When he invaded Jing province, he pledged allegiance to Cao Pi to prevent having to fight on both sides. Liu Yi suggested to reject and instead attack Sun Quan, effectively at half strength. Wu would fall, then Cao Pi would be able to conquer Shou. He refused this suggestion in a fateful choice that many believed doomed his empire to only ruling northern China, as such an opportunity would not come again. Sun Quan's submission would not last long, as he distanced himself from Cao Pi shortly after Lu Xun's victory at Yiling. Sun Deng was requested to be sent to the capital, which broke apart their alliance. Cao Pi answered by leading an expedition to attack Wu on 3 fronts. At this time, Wu enjoyed effective leadership from Sun Quan and high morale from their victories. Lu Xun and a number of other capable officers prevented Cao Pi from making any significant advances against them, despite several large-scale attacks. Exasperated, Cao Pi made a famous comment in 225 that heaven created the Yangtze to divide the north and the south. Around this time, Cao Zhang died due to sickness while attending court at the capital. Legends suggest he was most likely poisoned to prevent any contenders to the stolen throne. Regarding domestic matters, Cao Pi was generally viewed as a competent but spiteful administrator of his empire. He commissioned many capable officers into position, whilst employing his father's general guidelines of valuing ability over heritage. Many of his subjects, such as Wang Zhong, became targets of ridicule by Cao Pi. Ye Jin was also deeply insulted by the emperor when he returned from imprisonment after the Battle of Fancheng. He was ordered to be sent back to where he had been imprisoned as an envoy, but also to stop by Yi to pay his respects to Cao Cao first. At Yi, he saw that Cao Pi had commissioned an artist to paint a mural of the Battle of Fancheng. These scenes showed Ye Jin begging Guan Yu for his life, whilst Pang De fought till his last breath. Cao Pi was not open to criticism himself, however. Officials who dared to were often demoted, and on rare occasions put to death. Since he still resented Tao Ji, he had his fief reduced in size, then executed a number of his close associates. His chief strategist, Ding Yi, had his whole clan executed as a result of helping Taoji in the past. Under new regulations from Cao Pi, the Wei princes were not only distanced from central politics, but also had minimal power in their own principalities. They became restricted in many ways, particularly in the use of military force. Guo Wang did not bear Cao Pi any children, and he appeared to have not seriously considered anyone other than Cao Rui as his heir, most likely because they were all considerably younger at the time of Cao Pi's death. It's said that any thoughts of not making Rui the heir disappeared during a hunt. Cao Pi and Cao Rui had encountered a mother deer and a young deer. Pi killed the mother with an arrow, then ordered his son to shoot the young one. The boy wept and said, "Your Majesty has already killed the mother, and I do not have the heart to kill the son as well." Pi lowered his bow as he turned to look at his son, then became deeply mournful. In the summer of 226, he fell seriously ill, then named Cao Rui as his crown prince. He entrusted his son to the care of Cao Zhen, Chen Shun, and Sima Yi, who looked after him until he ascended the throne at age 21. After he became emperor, his stepmother Guo Wang became the empress dowager. When he asked her how his mother died, she told him the late emperor was the one who ordered her death, not her. "You can blame your dead father, why are you asking me?" Cao Rui turned furious and forced her to commit suicide. An alternate account states she passed away from illness, but in both cases, Cao Rui was deeply aggrieved, so he ordered Guo's dead body to be treated in the same manner as she did to his mother Lady Zhen. Hair covering face, mouth stuffed with rice husks. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.